Yo, guys, whew, we're back. Yo, listen, I'm gonna wait for more of you lot to get in. Because, boy, we need to have a conversation, obviously, and I want you guys to, to ask some questions. Also, what I want to do as well, if people are willing, I want you to send me your email so I can send you a link so you can come onto the show. You get me? We're gonna do a live impromptu, and I'm sure some of you got some views. It'll be good to get some of you guys on the actual live. Come bring your face, come and say your piece. You know what I'm saying? But, whoo, yo, what an interview! What an interview. Guys, like I said, I want some of you guys to drop your questions, not only questions, but also if you're willing to come onto this actual platform, show face, have a conversation with me, let me know. Yeah? Just send me an email. Little black, but let me put my email. If you're willing to, you get me, you know what I mean? If you're willing to, send me an email there. Yeah, that's my email there. If you're willing to come on to hear this live today, you want to come and give your opinion, drop me a message into my email. I will look at it and I'll send you a link so you can come onto the show. You understand? Because right now, it's smart. I don't know where to start from, guys. Okay. Everyone's saying they need analysis, and I'm like, I don't know where to even start from. I need to even probably watch it 1 or 2 times again. You know when you want to say something, but you don't want to be rude and thing. You got me. Okay, someone's asked me a question here. Do I feel that Naya was being genuine? Okay. I definitely do believe she's being genuine. And I think what I'm starting to see, and I hope you guys know, I hope did I start off the comments of her live? I don't think so. What's interesting, I guess, what from the interview that I did with Naya is that I believe she's being herself. Absolutely. And that is, I think, a theme that runs through all the interviews. If you guys have been through all the Ready to Love interviews, what I have noticed is this. What they showed, the person exhibited on the live. So as much as obviously they were not, so maybe they weren't as, like, how should you say? Maybe they weren't as full on as they showed on the show, but what we saw on the show, parts of what they had, that the energy, the attitude, the feelings, the way they moved was exactly how they behaved on the live. You know what I mean? Like whatever you saw on the show, I'm seeing on the live the same thing. I don't think there's been anybody that has changed my whole entire viewpoint towards them and how they acted on the show. Because anybody who came on the show, more time, they acted the exact same way on the live. You know? So there was no different. And so whenever people are talking about the edit, there's no edit. I'm sorry, I can't see the edit because what we are viewing is energy. You know, it's energy. DG, if you want to come on, do you get me? Like, just send me an email. Guys, if you want to join the conversation today, you want to give your piece and your view, listen, send me an email to littleblackbook91@gmail.com and let's have a conversation. You know, I the edit didn't change the energy or the tone or the thing that came across onto us on the screen, which is why I say to you guys, sometimes you have to let them talk. The same thing happened with Simone. I know you guys wanted me to ask more questions. I said, no, see, you need to see the behavior. Because the same way that she was cutting off Edwin on the show, and yes, it was edited, but the same way we saw on the live. And so now I'm saying everything I'm saying to you guys, I'm going to have to feed it back to them because I'm not about doing backhanded things. But the same thing that Simone did, she did the same. The same thing Brian did. Brian did the exact same thing. When he came on the show, good guy. Yes, he had an expansion of who he was. There was more to Brian than we saw. But what we saw on the live was he's a solution-based person and he talks a lot. So when you are trying to listen and you're trying to share your heart to the person in a relationship stance, I can see how this may not go over together. I can see how now they took that piece of a viewing and framed it that way. Because remember, the people that are behind the show aren't just people who are camera workers. They are psychologists. They are people who are behavioral experts. So they know how you behave already. They just need to capture it on the screen. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if they know my weakness and they know what frustrates Kojo, yeah, they don't need to fake a scene. They just need to get me in the right environment and put it on a camera. Why? Because that's me. If I get triggered in a certain way, I can't fake it. I'm gonna get triggered and they're gonna put it on the screen. So everything we're seeing on the screen, yes, it's edited, but what we are seeing is a consistency of behavior. I had no problem with Naya complaining about the accommodation or the food. I think she wasn't the only one that's complained about that. So this is not a unique thing to Naya. What I would say from what I understood, what I've understood about the actual Naya situation, I think I was still a little bit hurt. And I think the reason why I'm sorry if I've missed your questions. I'm gonna try and go back through the questions. I do apologize. I think why I was a little bit hurt by the Chris situation is because number one, I need to talk to Chris anyway. We need to get Chris on the show. So hopefully we'll get Chris on the show. But number two, I felt like even though she said she hadn't changed the energy had shifted. It had moved. And yes, she may not have been gung-ho, but because someone said gung-ho, I felt like, for instance, when I asked a question about, did you fight for Chris? And she's like, I didn't fight for Chris, but I voted for him. And for me, I think words are so important because it's like she said, words are important for her. Words are important for me because when you fight for someone, it shows that, because look, the girls in the group might have not wanted to keep Chris, but the fact that you were fighting for Chris would have put more emphasis for them to keep Chris. You know what I mean? But the fight wasn't there. And clearly there is truth to the fact that obviously he never made no connection. So that's beside the point. But I just felt like the way she spoke about it, the Chris situation never gave me confidence. Because the question she asked Edwin, she asked the same question she asked Chris to Edwin. And I didn't get to answer the question. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, I know you said that Chris was talking about the business, which I said, fair enough, I get it. But she went with the same question she asked Chris. And because he had said his answer, she said, obviously, Chris said X, Y, and Z, told Edwin that. And then Edwin answered the question. So, like, that's not editing. That's what you've said. So you've kind of also done similarly the same kind of thing. So, and I feel the same way, I think, similar from Simone, Brian, and Naya, from what we've seen on the show, when you ask questions, they're not directly answered. So whenever we're asking a direct question, the conversation goes round again, and then we might touch lightly on the actual question, right? And as I'm like, the person's not actually answering the question. I can see how this could be a problem in a setting. I can see how this can be a problem in a talk where someone may have a different viewpoint to their viewpoint, and how quickly that can become an argument, right? Because you have to think about it. If you're having an argument and you said X, Y, and Z in an argument, and you don't remember what you said, then you're gonna have problems, because the person's gonna remember, like, well, you said loads of stuff, but then I didn't really. And that's why many of you were saying in the chat, what is her answer? Did you realize it's the exact same thing? No one's fighting in the comments. Do you realize it's the exact same thing that happened? That's what I wanted you to pay attention. The same thing happened with Brian, also happened with Simone, also happened with Naya. Didn't answer the questions as straightforward as they needed to. Yeah. See, so that's where the problems start. When you don't answer the question directly, though I feel like, and I genuinely feel like she was genuinely trying to answer the question. I think the psychological type of people that they are talkers. Talkers oftentimes are not concise with answers. I call them reds. You know what I mean? Like, reds are people that can have a conversation with the floor. They can have a conversation with the sky. They can have a conversation with you, your mom, your dad. They can have a conversation with anybody. But they just know they just can talk. And unfortunately, when they get into answering questions, there's 1,000 things going in their head, and it just all comes out at once. And I felt that's why she missed a lot of the conciseness of the answers, because now I have to go and watch it at least 2 or 3 times to listen to all the actual answers that she gave, because I'm still not sure 100% where we got to. And again, because time was against us, I couldn't really ask the question again and again and again. It wouldn't make no sense. Maybe we'll get on the show a second time and we can home it down a little bit more. But yeah, let me pause there and see what questions you guys came up with. Again, guys, if you want to come on the show, you want to come on to this live, listen, I'm gonna put my email in it again. Just give me an email, okay? Send me a little email, and I'll send you the link so you can come on to the show. All right, okay. Some people have already done it. Okay. All right, some people. Okay, give me 2 sets. Some people already said they want to come on the show, so I'm gonna get some few people on. Okay, I'm gonna get some few people on. All right then. It's gonna get tasty. Give me 2 sets, guys. We're inviting some people onto the show to come and give their opinions. Whoo, baby. Okay. That's right. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay, we've got a few people on here. I'm gonna get 2 people on. All right then. Cool. And DG, let me get DG on as well. Guys, it's gonna get techie. Let's get some people on and have a conversation. Okay. Let's have a conversation. All right. Okay. Those of you who guys have emailed me, I have sent a link to you. Just click on the link. I'll see you in the background, and then I'll bring you on one by one, and we'll have a conversation, right? So, my guys, listen. So I don't know. I mean, I know the producers, and this is a really good point. I know the producers do stuff. I know the producers actually influence a lot of stuff. We heard it through the whole thing. Producers are influencing everything. But again, I want to pinpoint to you guys that the edit can only do so much. It can only do so much, which is, I guess, a lesson for all of us as well. You are always being watched, whether it's CCTV, whether it's a cameraman, whether it's your friends or family. They are seeing things that we can't see. But, let's get the people on, man. Let's get the people on. You know what I mean? Let's get the people on, man. Because, boy, honestly, it's a lot. Let's see what questions the guys are asking. Someone said, but those dudes did vote her off, and she was like, there were 7 bullets, and then she said they were her family. Yeah, okay, so that's another comment that I think was a little bit, I guess, I wish we could have explored it a bit more. I wish we could have gone a little bit deeper, because and this is a problem when someone talks at length, too many things get said, because it wasn't explored. It was like 7 bullets, and I was like, wait, 7 bullets? You mean 7 man? Are you against them? Are you not against them? What's happening here? Okay, I can see DG's on. I can see DG's coming on. We're gonna have a first person. Let me see. DG, we can't hear you. Your mic's on mute. Hold on. He's coming on. We're gonna have a first person. Let me see.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, DG. You might have to tone.
Can't hear your mic. Hold on. He's coming on. We're gonna have a first person. Let me see. I'm here.
You might have to tone me down a little bit, DG.
Hold on. Let me pause over here.
First person. Yeah. All right.
Pause on the YouTube. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sis. We can hear you. Go for it. Talk to us, sis. What you saying?
Awesome. Thank you, Kojo. First of all, you do a great job with these interviews. You're so insightful, and you have such a peaceful perspective when coming to talk to these folks. So I appreciate it. I won't do the recapture because I know it's you. But anyway,
go for it, sis.
I know that it just seemed like Naya was so angry and defensive. I
Okay.
understand that a lot of times as women, we have to have strength and, feel like we have to go in battle, going through the dating game and it's a competition. But it seemed like there was some thinly veiled vitriol for whatever reason. And I just don't feel like she was willing to hear you.
I love that. I love that. What would you think? What do you think for you was what did you see as a problem with Naya explanations? Like, because there was a lot of explanations. So what do you feel that was an issue for you in terms of Naya's explanations?
I feel like you hit it on the head. She really wasn't answering the question that was being asked. I think she may have come into the interview with a plan on what she was going to defend herself in regards to and
Okay.
answered all those things and got lost in her own explanations. But I did not hear direct answers to what you actually said to her.
What what can you remember as an answer? It's gonna be tough. What do you remember as an answer to any of the questions? Like, do you remember any solid answer? Oh, she's gone, sis. Don't worry, you'll come back. I think she got logged off. Uh, um, yeah, guys. Again, please, if you want to come through, just send me an email. I can see some of your emails coming through. I'm sending you guys the links and stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, Simone, want to come on, Simone? Oh. Hey, DG, come back, DG, come
Yeah,
back,
thank you.
come back. Yeah,
What can I remember as an answer to any of the questions?
yeah.
There was something about a scripture,
Okay.
something about, I have no idea. I really, I can't even put it together. I don't know. I don't know.
So if you can't remember an answer, okay, so this is the problem here. If you as an audience who are watching it can't remember the answers that the person is giving, oftentimes it means the person has done over and beyond. So they've gone beyond the question and they've spoken a little bit too much, or maybe they've spoken too much, and that means now you listening it are losing the actual conciseness or the point of the answer of what they gave. For instance, I don't know if anyone picked up, what did she like Chris or not? We don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? They're in touch. There's a party. I mean, I have no idea.
I don't know. But we had an extensive 20-minute, maybe 15-minute conversation around the Chris issue where we were asking about, okay, and in the end, I actually narrowed it down and said Chris or Edwin, and she actually said both, and then it went elsewhere.
Right. Exactly. So I have no idea. It was hard to follow. It was very difficult. There was a weight of listening that I had to receive that and I'm used to hearing your voice a lot more during these interviews, and I'm like, what is going on? Is this a monologue? What's happening? What is she even saying? And then I went in the chat and lit it up.
Yep. Sis, I appreciate it. I'm going to put you in the background. I'm going to bring someone else on, but stay in the background. I'll bring you back in a second or two, all right?
Thanks. Bye.
No way, sis. Simone.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, sis. It's going smooth.
Hey.
It's going smooth. How you doing?
Good. I'm all right. I'm home in New Orleans. I had to be here for my cousin's funeral, but my cousin's like the biggest Ready to Love fan. Like, I call her all the time. So I was like, you know what? Allison would be like, sis, call them and tell them. Da-da-da. So in her honor, I had to hop on here. Right
I appreciate that. What did you think of the interview, Simone?
So I was hopping in and out. But I think I know what she might have been referring to with respect to the whole she felt like she shouldn't have been voted out at that particular time and was upset about that. Can I elaborate? All right.
Yeah, please.
So,
yeah.
Okay, cool. So from what I heard is all I heard is that like some girls were pissed that Naya got voted off and not me. Their sentiment was like, hey, guys wanted her. Sorry, I'm laughing because the shit is funny. It's funny to me now. But like they were like, some of the girls were like livid. They were like screaming at Rashid, not screaming, but they were livid at Rashid and Brian because those two guys had me in their tops at the time. And we're like, why didn't you kick Simone out? Because here's why. Because I had just cussed Jay out in front of a bunch of people. I cussed him out in front of Edwin, Denise, Rashid, Alex, and like a bunch of people. I mean, not real cuss words, but I was like, you're not honest. You're not transparent. You run into Joy and telling her this in her face. You're running to Winnie. You're saying this in her face. Shame on you. Da 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 da. And because of how I did that, it rubbed some men the wrong way. It didn't rub Rashid the wrong way. And interestingly, on the last episode that I was on, where you saw me going to each guy and being like, hey, I want to stay. I did that episode 5 after I cussed out Jay. That was not episode 8.
Okay.
At episode, yeah, so it was different. So I think what she's referring to is like, look, Simone done ruffled all these feathers. She done did this and did that. Her sentiment was that Simone should have gone home instead of me. So she was like, that's busted. But I think part of it was there were still 2 men who had me in their top, Brian and Rashid, where she had one man that had her in her top, which was Edward, because Chris at that time had already been gone. I could be saying it wrong, but that's my understanding. And yeah, so one of the things that was eliminated, so some people, when they hear me talk, I'll be like, I could have looked way crazier than I did, because I'm out here cutting people out, and they omitted that. But I think that's what they were talking about, or what she was referring to.
Okay. Watching the interview when you flicked it in and out, obviously we were doing an interview, and obviously I've just said as well, because I like to keep it honest as well. I said,
sure.
Similarly from Brian to yourself and to Naya, the conciseness of answers when we're looking for an answer, the conversation, the question gets asked, and then the answer starts, and then before we know it, we're lost.
Right.
And the audience felt like especially in those 3 interviews, it wasn't concise, the answers that have been given. And what happens is that people get lost. They're not sure whether you're actually answering the question or you're trying to dodge, or whether you're. And I personally think it's because we have listeners, we have talkers, we have those who are very natural talkers, right? Unfortunately, what happens though, when they answer a question when you're a talker, it goes beyond the question, and then we forget what the answer was in terms of the question.
I don't think she was trying to dodge it, because I just know her, and she's she's very transparent. She's very genuine. Like, I did read the comments, and oh Lord Jesus, that was never been my experience. But I can totally understand. I watched the playback of my interview with you, and in my situation, part of mine was I was told your interview was the last interview I was allowed to do all year. So part of me, yeah.
What?
So
why?
I don't know.
What did I
do?
But
part of it was, while I'm trying to answer your question, I'm literally thinking in my head, like, let me put out here anything I want to share, because this is likely going to be my last interview until after the reunion airs. So, and I don't know if she had that sentiment too, but maybe pretty much because it's the end of the year, we next have Christmas break. They kind of just want to do a break, because they like the interviews to correlate with the airing of episodes that involve you. Okay. So for me, I think I make the face, but realistically, I think it's probably because now that I'm not in, episodes that I'm in. But I don't think she was trying to evade the question.
Okay. And I just said, because again, I always keep it 100. I said to the audience the same thing. I said that during the course of the interview, I think for everyone that's come on the show and come on this, everyone's gone on Ready to Love, and everyone who's come on to actual platform to do an interview, there is characteristics that are not edited out. There are characteristics which were shown on the show that are also shown on the interview.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. Well.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Because
I get it. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, I just love her. Yeah, I'm very authentic. I'd be like, this person funny, this person fake, this person full of ish. And I hadn't had that experience with her in my real life, on the show, or anything in between.
Cool. I got a fan here, audience member, sorry, I should even say, who wants to ask you a question. So I'm gonna let her come on and ask you a question. Is that okay?
Yeah? Yes, it's a girl. Hey, girl. Hey.
All right, cool. I'm gonna let her come on. DG, Flo, ask her the question you want to ask her, girl. Go on. Because y'all be looking at me like I should ask questions. So now you all got the chance. Y'all better ask these questions.
Thanks for being here. I just wanted to clarify. What's your relationship with Naya, and are you getting the impression that she wasn't being defensive during the interview? Because that's the impression that I got, and it seems like most of my cohort has received. What are your thoughts on what you thought?
You know what? I was jumping in and out because I'm literally here at my cousin's funeral passed, but I was jumping in and out, so I couldn't. But also, I'm probably not the best one to judge because I have so many days of experience. I have like weeks of experience with her, both before and after. So what you guys may see as defensive, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna see it like, girl, she's sick of that ish too. She's kind of sick of some of the things that we experience too. So I think I just judge it differently.
I hear you. Thanks for that.
But I can't deny the fact that like a variety of different people were saying the same thing. So I can see that clearly multiple people who haven't met her yet came across with a similar view.
For sure.
I did good. That was concise. I'm working on it.
Me too.
Gross. Yes. But no, I really appreciate it. Well, I'm going to bogart your interview, but I just wanted to clarify that. So, yeah.
No worries, bro. You know we chat anyway. Listen, I'll holler at you in it. I'll holler at you later in it.
Awesome. Okay, you guys enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, sis.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So I've got one more person I'm gonna add on. Farah, we're adding you. I'll just put you on there. Bam. How you doing, sis? You right?
Hi.
How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm alive and I'm well, sis. Talk to us. How did you feel? What's on your mind? Share it with us. What's on your mind?
The part of the interview I was really confused about was when she was just saying like she didn't have an issue with the guys, and then she did have an issue with the guys. That part was really confusing. I can't
even clear that up for you. I can't clear that up for you. I'll be honest. I can't clear it up. I don't have an answer.
Unfortunately, I missed most of it because of the comments. I'm sorry, but
okay. So tell us your experience with the comments. What was going on in the comments for you? What was you experiencing in the comments? Let us know.
There were just a couple of people just saying that she was basically lying the whole time, and I felt the same way.
Oh, okay. Tell us why. Why do you feel that she was lying?
The things she was saying really. Because of the simple fact that she said she didn't have a problem with Chris, when obviously she did. She didn't even give him a chance to clarify his comments. I didn't understand. Like, if you didn't have a problem with him, then have a deeper conversation.
Okay.
But she didn't even give him the benefit of that doubt. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also felt like she dismissed him the minute she heard 50-50. Like, she heard 50-50 and she was like, oh, okay, you're done. I'm not entertaining this anymore. Because obviously you were talking about having his children. You know what I mean? And wanting to marry him. And then as soon as you hear 50-50, it's like, I don't know, Chris. I don't understand. I didn't get that part, but...
Are you saying that you didn't believe? Because obviously she said as well. She said, "Oh, we had a conversation and everything was squashed. Everything was good." Did you feel like that didn't really?
I don't
happen?
believe that happened. Only because if it did, why say I don't know him in the tavern, or what is it that they have?
Yeah,
tavern,
you got it right, tavern.
Why say you don't know him if you had a deeper conversation? I mean, why throw the shade in the first place for someone you were so into? I don't understand it. Like, I was so disappointed in that. So.
I'm hearing you on that, sis. I'm hearing that. Just, I'm going to put you on mute, but stay on the screen. We're going to get someone else on as well. So stay on there. We're going to get you guys talking, so don't worry. We're going to get one more person on. Hello, sis Angelique.
Hey, Kojo. How are you?
I'm good, sis. Talk to me. How you doing, man?
First of all, I love your show. It's so amazing.
Thank you.
I think what a lot of people were thinking in the comments is that this lady's super self-centered. Like, it's all about her. It's just like, it's all about her. Like, I remember thinking in the episode when they sent her guy home, and then she went out with Edwin. Was it Edwin she went out with? And they were sitting there on the couch, and she said, "Oh, I tried to text him, but it went to voicemail, and he was supposed to help me with the contact." And I was like, so wait a minute, you think that after you just embarrass this man and send him home and he's going to be a business hookup? Like, are you serious? That was like, and you know what? That's the same thing that was coming through in the interview. So I think, yeah.
Did you feel, because obviously she mentioned about how her and Chris are just absolutely fine. Did you feel that was necessarily the case? Because I was a little bit like, wait, you and Chris are absolutely fine. You mean he has no heart palpitations about how he was treated? Because from what we heard on the show, he was a little bit hurt. And even some of the interviews I've heard, he sounded still a bit hurt. So, I mean, did you guys buy what she was saying about her and Chris being like, you know?
I mean, it was kind of abrupt. So I think that was like, how could he not feel some kind of a way? I mean, that would make sense.
DG, Farah, do you want to add?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think his feelings were hurt, even in all the editing. That next morning breakfast, he was, hey girl, that's not what I meant. You know what I mean? Let's keep it together, and that, yeah, I think she skipped the part, but that might have been editing, y'all.
Farah? Oh, sorry, I put you on mute. My bad, Farah. Wait, hold on. Sorry, go, Farah. Go for it.
I was saying, they didn't show a conversation that they had after that.
They didn't know. They didn't.
So, I don't know. It could be editing, but if you did have a conversation, like, why wouldn't you want to put that on there? But I guess it wasn't up to her, so I don't know.
Yeah, she said there was a conversation after he left and they managed to have a conversation together. I don't know. I just still feel a little bit like, I mean, like I said, as an interviewer, I'm not trying to draw blood, so I want to be able to let the person expand. But I was thinking to myself, okay, they have a conversation after, but when he goes on from the interviews I've watched him on, he talks about the situation as if he was slighted. He doesn't say like he doesn't make it too bait, like, oh, she did me dirty completely, because I think he's covering her. But it does sound like he was a little bit slight, and he was deep. This guy was deep. Like, he said he has to take time off and come back. That tells me you are deep. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
My chest is burning for these people. Let me see what questions are there so we can get you guys to answer a few of the questions, see what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Let me spread the love a little bit. Let me see. I don't want to show no one else to reality TV. I actually need to see some questions on here. Guys, send me your questions so I can see them. Do you get me? Because there's a lot of comments. You guys in the comment section are ruthless. Every live I'm on, the comment section, I just do this little look like, and I know you lot are going off wild. I can see it.
Hilarious. Hilarious. Oh my god.
You guys in the comment section are, I mean, you guys lit. Enjoy it. It's lit. I can't lie. And I'm half the time I'm really trying to just like concentrate, but I'm like, these guys are going off on one. I mean, do you know what I mean? Do you think she went on there for business? Someone's asked this question. Do you think she went on there for business? That's a question. I'm going to ask it to you guys. Do you think that Naya went on that show for business? What was your thoughts?
Maybe. I saw her Instagram page.
I don't know.
I think she does something in the beauty industry. Right. Yeah, I think she does something in the beauty industry, but I'm not sure. And I didn't see any of that come through until just now at the end with the conditioner plug. And then it's hard to tell. I don't know what she was trying to represent. Right.
I think it was all of that. A guide to potentially in her business, but she did say that like several times about contacts. I made contacts and with this person. So
yeah. She did make that comment. And also I did ask her why she went on the show, but again, alas, I don't know why she went on the show. I don't know. And I know people were asking me to ask about her friend who with benefits came on. It was asked like, someone wanted me to ask, is he married? And I was like, listen, it's gonna get messy. I didn't want to. Do you know what I mean? Like that's gonna get very messy. I think we have to use our imaginations. Okay.
But again, would she be honest about that? Though?
Right.
You'd have to decipher if she lied or she's not. So it's kind of like, I don't know if that's even worth it.
I mean, how did you guys feel when she mentioned that? When she mentioned the friend and then said that guy who was a boyfriend that was meant to be outside actually is a friend, but friend with benefit, but they would never get together in a relationship. How did you guys feel about that?
I mean, we didn't see him. I didn't see anybody out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody was there or not. I didn't see anybody.
Show us receipts, sis. What do you mean? Yeah.
True, we didn't see anybody. We don't know. We don't know.
I hate the fact that she uses that to save face, though. I kind of feel like she's trying to save face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's true. It could be as well. And she did mention that she had. I mean, she mentioned that she had some people on tap. You know,
yeah.
she got there. She can go on dinners and dates.
On a dating show, if you have somebody already at home.
Girls, answer that question. Ladies, answer that question. If you've got many guys out there who can take you on dinner dates, why would you go on Ready to Love? You should. Ladies, answer this question for me, because this one, I don't know.
Maybe ego. I mean, she gives me a lot of ego. Okay. You know, so maybe it's like saving face. I think you referred to that. You know, well, I don't need this. I have that. I don't need y'all's comments. Yeah. I know myself. The Lord, you know, all these things. I'm just like, girl, we all have him. We don't all have that you have.
True. There's a question here. One more question for you guys, and then I'm gonna bring someone else on as well. The question was, do you think Rashid was manipulated by production like she suggested? Because she mentioned that Rashid was manipulated by production as to why he asked some of the questions he asked or whatever. Do you feel that is true?
I think that could
be
the
questions. What were the questions?
I can't remember. What did he say? I can't remember what actually he asked. I know it was him talking. He didn't really ask questions. He said to her that the guys had discussed about the situation and they
saying
felt
that
a certain
Chris
way.
was really feeling her and things had changed, and so I don't think she believed that part. Like that he believed that was true. She thinks it was production that was getting him to say that. But I don't know. Production? Maybe.
But isn't that what happened though?
Well,
we don't know. But again, does that mean you have to sit there and tell him to talk to the couch? Did production tell you to do that?
Yeah, that wasn't production.
Right. I think production plans questions. Like y'all know how on these shows, you know, they have to keep things going and, you know, plant seeds and all that stuff. But, you know, like everybody is saying, we can't curate your responses. You said what you said.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Very, very true. No, and I definitely agree with you guys. I think I don't know. I mean, I think there was just so much that was going on that it's hard to bring it all back. I mean, I can't believe it was an hour and 15, but it was so much that was said. That's why when I was like, if people ask me what my thoughts, I'm like, I actually don't know where to start, don't know where to begin.
And it almost feels like she was prepared, though. I don't know if anybody else
talk about that, sis. Why did you feel that?
Prepared. I don't like. She came with a story. She had like weeks to come up with an answer, kind of. So she like came up with her own narrative story of how things happened and how to explain it and how to work it out. But then it didn't gel with the reality of everything. Like your story doesn't match what everybody else saw. I don't know.
Right.
Okay,
It's almost like she saw it here and
said a lot.
Control.
That kind of. I don't know. It didn't feel authentic. I don't know. To me, it didn't feel authentic at all.
Okay,
that's real.
Okay, no, I rock with that. Anybody else have an opinion on that as well? Anjali, DG, do you want to say a piece? No.
Great.
I mean, I agree that she talked a lot. I mean, she had a lot to say, and I wonder if she was convincing herself a little bit sometimes, but she was making all of her points, all of them. She made sure to get in every point. Yeah.
Multiple times.
She made sure to get it all out there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because remember, I don't give any of these people the questions. None of them know what I'm going to ask. I do not give them the questions before the show. So they're not prepped by me. I do not give them any questions so that there is no preparation. I don't want a prepared answer. I want your honest answer when you hear the question. So nobody gets prepped questions. Maybe you could probably guess the first few, but because obviously I do a kind of like the first questions are icebreakers, but maybe who are you? But the questions about the show, I don't prep you. You don't know what I'm going to ask. You don't know what I'm going to say. So, if she was prepared, I guess yes, she was. If she was prepared, it's like yes, maybe she knew there were going to be some questions that are going to come out, which is Chris, the money situation. That she's probably watching online, and people have been saying the same thing because that's what people are talking about.
The couch.
Yeah. The couch. Yeah.
And honestly, it was really disappointing because this could have been a learning moment for her. To reflect and think back on what she did, but she kind of didn't. I don't know. It was a missed opportunity, I feel like.
True.
I hear that. Ladies, I'm going to bring you back on. Stay in the background. I'm going to put you in the background, but stay on. I'm going to bring on some 2 other people as well. And we'll keep on conversating. You know what I'm saying? So don't leave. Stay in the background. We'll keep on conversating, all right?
Cool.
Appreciate you, sisters. Oh, yeah. Let me just put it back there. All right, we got Kay. Oh, we got Shalonda. Hey, Shalonda. Hey, Kay. Hey, Shalonda, girl. Okay. Hair all glistening. Okay, girl.
Oh, look at you. Thank you so much. Oh, I love watching you, especially I love put a ring on it, Cass. But we're talking about Red New Love. Yeah, it's been good. Someone had a great question. One Love asked, do you think that Naya has multiple personalities? I think that's a great question.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you can answer the question, sis. Go for it.
So for me, I feel that she has a representation that she wants to present. I don't even think that she is her representative. I think that she just has this narrative of what she feels she's going to present, and then she wants to make that presentation. I don't think that it's stream multiple personalities. She mentioned that she is doing some work on herself. So I think that she's becoming aware that there's a disconnect from, as she put it, some of the things that might have been missing from her childhood, or some of the missing gaps in learning how to communicate effectively or create good boundaries or express herself in an authentic way. And I think that she's just coming into that awareness. So I don't think that it's multiple personalities, but I think that there's fragmented pieces that still need to be connected.
I love that.
Yeah, I could relate to that. Yeah,
I love that. Kay, do you wanna hit that as well? Go for it.
Yeah, I would definitely say her personality was quite consistent. I didn't see any multiple sides to her personality. Like some of the bad, I'm not coming here to bash her, but some of the bad characteristics, traits, things that we saw on the show, it was definitely highlighted further on your live. But I didn't see multiple dimensions. I mean, it was definitely quite consistent with what we saw in the show. So for me, it was. Yeah, that's all I'll say on that.
Why do you think that? Let's say someone made that question. Why do you think that question probably arose in that person's mind? What do you think they were seeing to make them think that could be the case?
For me, at the time, we were talking about the conversation going in a circle, and Simone had just jumped on, and I think that she gave us a live example of not directly answering a question, but answering somebody's question. I don't know if it was the question in her head or a question she previously thought that she wanted to answer and clear up that she didn't when she had your platform before. But it wasn't the direct question that was asked to her just now. And so when Naya was on, she didn't want to answer the question. That's what I believe. She just didn't want to answer the question because she liked Chris, then she didn't.
Yeah.
She liked Edwin, but she didn't. Then she liked the both of them, but not every day on a given day. So what day is that? So it was just, no direct answer to any question. And I think that's where the question came up, because it's like, well, who are you? Which one are you? Are you, this person today that's going to answer this way, and you're another person tomorrow that's going to answer this way? So I think that's where the question stems from.
Yeah, she was definitely contradicting herself. I think she was just trying to clean up her reputation. So the responses she was given was just to make sure she portrayed herself in a better light. as opposed to what we saw in the show. And so it really didn't match. The two weren't matching. So I was like, okay, who are you? What were you really thinking? What are you saying? It's totally contradictory.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Totally agree.
I think there is some in truth in what you're saying, especially about both of you said about the reputation, because oftentimes when you do look back at some of your behaviors, it can shock you, and sometimes I think, especially and obviously when you have siblings, number one, there's a lot of reflection in terms of your behaviors. So if you've got a younger sibling or older sibling, they're going to tell you straight up, like, I'm not liking your behavior right now. So oftentimes your reflection or your self-reflection on your behaviors gets done by your siblings. They normally tell you, or then your friends will tell you, right? And this is not saying that any only child, because I've met many single children who are very, very aware. Mm-hmm. But with Naya's case, I felt like there seemed to be no one there who's given her the reflection of the behavior. So I think now seeing yourself on a screen, it's almost like you're covering yourself now because and like she said, there's a lot of comments that are coming her way have not been positive, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe for her, in her sense, the image and the reputation is very, very important. It's what keeps her together. That's what gives Naya value.
Yeah. It's identity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go for it, sis.
Coco, I really appreciate how you are so introspective and how you dig deep into thinking about what we're thinking about. So that's why I love this show. So keep up the good work. But in regards to what you're speaking to, I can so relate to that because my mom passed away when I was 19. And so then my only brother was 6 years older than me. And so because we had that large gap, I was kind of like the only child. And because there was a disconnection in my family, I was left to come up with everything in my head, come up with why I was being treated the way I was being treated, how other people viewed me, and just really, I created a lot of narratives that in my mind were valid and true. And it's not until coming of age, because I'm 43, and so now I'm beginning to understand exactly why I did the things I did and some of those gaps that Naya alluded to. And so when you say it makes a difference, your community, it's very true, because if I had siblings closer to me, or I've seen dynamics of my friends' relationships that have multiple siblings or tighter bonds with their parents, that they have that open dialogue and that conversation and that awareness brings them to larger understanding and insight into themselves and allows them to create better dynamics in the world when they're connecting with other people.
I agree with that. I can relate to that. I'm my experience. I was raised as an only child. I have half siblings, which I love, but we didn't come to know of each other until later on in my life. So, essentially, we get a bad rep for sure. And I'm not really a fan of labels, stereotypes. Of bad behavior is bad behavior, but like you mentioned, who you surround yourself with, your upbringing, and the relationship dynamics you have definitely shape your ability to be able to accept counsel, I guess I would say. And so if you've never had anyone, point out bad behaviors or kind of stir up that conversation for you, it can definitely be difficult for you later in your adult life to all of a sudden sit back and be self-aware and take heed and humble yourself and make those changes. So it definitely factors in. It's not an excuse, but it has a bearing on how you're able to respond, and if you can even acknowledge it. Like if you're even able to see it, somebody could be talking to you, it's just talking to a brick wall, like nothing. So yeah, it's an issue for sure, but that's where growth comes in. And she mentioned prayer quite a bit. Oh, pray for me, guys. I think that was sarcastic. I don't think she really wanted us to pray for her. Because I was like, if you really want me to pray, I'll pray. And when God kind of reveals to you what you need to work on,
be open to receive.
I'm not sure. Yeah. So she was just speaking words. I don't think she meant that. But yeah, I had a problem with that.
I like this topic, so stay on this topic. I'm going to bring one more person. Stay on. I'm going to bring one more person because I think this topic is really good, and I think a lot of people can learn from this. And I think we've taken the conversation a little bit deeper, so I like where it's going. So I'm going to add one more person. I'm going to bring Lola on. Lola,
Hey, Lola.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
How are you doing, Alice?
Great. Yeah, I was one of those who was waiting for this debrief because the live was quite interesting. I think the first thing that kind of came to mind with her was we've been throwing around the word narcissism, this narcissistic personality. And looking at her, I hate to label her with that, but she had a few of those traits, you know. You know, she complained about the criticism she'd gotten. So she had a problem with that. She didn't listen. So she was barely answering any of your questions. She definitely looks ambitious. So she has the drive. So it's just, and I guess in relationships, I don't know her, but just seeing her based on the show, the way she relates, like the way she just kind of turned, she denies turning around, doing that 180 with Chris, but we saw it in front of the camera. 1 minute she was having babies with him, bragging about how they kissed. And then the next minute, it's like, oh, really? It's 50-50. You're dead to me. And he literally was dead to her from that moment, at least from what we saw on the camera. So, I don't know. I mean, I hate to put her down, but this is what she was giving us. She seemed completely oblivious to what she was presenting even tonight. Like she literally was having one conversation in another country, maybe speaking in Spanish, and we're listening in English. It was completely two different things. She seemed almost delusional with what we saw and what she was telling us. Like she was trying to convince us of her storyline.
Yeah.
Very true. Because she wanted us to believe that she did not vote Chris off and that she did not flip the script. But what Kojo asked her directly was, well, it seemed like that was the same day because we even noticed that you had on the same outfit. And she was like, oh, yeah, it was the same day. And I was like, wait a minute.
Flipped the script.
So if it's the same day, it couldn't be too much editing. And that was clearly from Chris to Edwin. Same question asked. And I caught the same thing Kojo caught because I was watching it like, lady, if you tell him what Chris said that you didn't like, and then you turn around and ask him, what would you say? Well, clearly you gave him the answer, ma'am.
Exactly.
What do you expect him to say? And Edwin, he was reserved. He did not fall right into it, but he nodded and gave her enough assurance for her to just take it and run with it. And that's what she did.
Yeah, he was still trying to play the game too. So he just kind of satisfied her hunger. But she definitely looked thirsty. Once she turned Chris off, she was behaving completely, unfortunately, for a woman in her 40s, she looked completely thirsty. So, I mean, she didn't save her reputation, in my opinion, this evening. She made it. She made herself look worse because this is live. This is no editing. We could see what was going on, and she's oblivious to it. She thinks she saved the day, but she was concerned about the chat, the way that was. Because we were going in.
I didn't tell her not to look at it.
We were going
in. I said, girl, don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat.
Because when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Oh, that's good.
So
I like that one.
You know what's so funny is I did not want to see the interview, but I watched all of LVB, right? I didn't want to watch the interview, but I told myself before I turned it on, I said, this is an opportunity to see if it was truly editing or if we'll see the real person. And when we went through this interview, I was like, no editing. Ding, 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 ding. We all had the right answer when we watched it.
I was disappointed. I was hoping that, I'd see her in a different light. Like she'd come on and man, it was just totally different situation. But like Lola said, she just further emphasized that this is how she truly is, and she kept blaming production. This is a television show and people want to react and get in their feelings. I'm like, television show, it was real life. Some of those scenes were real life. This is real life response and your behavior, so you can't blame it on that.
And I want to say, Kojo, keep doing this because even like when Ashley came on, again, another plug, when Ashley came on, she emphasized to you like, I watch your show and it helped me as I'm going through this, and it caused me to reflect and it caused me to get some enlightenment and understanding and say, oh, these are the words I can use to express what I've been feeling all along. Because a lot of us, the truth be told, we weren't educated in this way. We are just becoming more aware of the language to use because it was not brought into our homes. And that was with intention. And we were programmed to believe in a limited way so that we would limit our potential. And that's just the truth. And so now we are getting a broadened perspective and vantage point. And that's the benefit of social media. A lot of people want to talk about the negativity from it, but this is an opportunity for us to now be engaged in conversations that we would never have had around our dining room table.
That's true.
What we would make emphasize was disharmony and distrust and dysfunction that was known as holidays, family reunions, and we just made that our regular patterns because we didn't know any better. But now we do know better. And the more we have these conversations, if you are not aware, because I'm still working on it. If you talk to my children, they gonna tell you I'm still working on it. But we're becoming more and more aware, and these conversations can give us language. So some of the feelings, some of the emotions, some of the triggers, some of the trauma that we are experiencing, and we're not fully vetted to discuss it. And a lot of that helps with therapy. So if I want to say that, since I got the platform, like if you are adverse to therapy or haven't, had opportunities to seek someone of counsel, do so. It's okay. It helps.
Yeah. I have to agree with what you said, Kojo. I have been enjoying your reviews because I call you a mentalist. The way you read human behavior. And so you can almost see yourself in these characters and say, okay, you know what? You can see where you go wrong sometimes and say, well, you know what? I probably should do it better next time. So I love listening to the reviews. And I think that's why you get people on, because they see the authenticity in what you're saying. Even if you're, criticizing them, it's from a place of, you know what, this is what I see. It's not just to be wicked, but almost constructive criticism. So these are really great reviews. I've really been enjoying them, which is what kind of brought me into them. Like I was kind of hoping she would change my mind or explain the crazy behavior. Like, she's a sister. I want us to win. But she didn't. She looked nice and everything. She looked really nice. She was well made up and dressed.
I love the picture in the background.
That was the extent of it.
The decor behind was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So she knows how to put stuff together, but she's going to need some work. Like you said, some therapy would definitely make her a new person before she starts having these kids she wants to have.
Oh, for sure. Please, before this.
Please. No children, no husband, none of that. No.
Let's talk a bit about that then. Let's talk a bit about that, because I think, as much as I love talking about Naya and the show, I think this is something you touched on, something which is really real. Black people in therapy, the Black community in therapy. Why is it that it's taken us so long to get to a place? I think we're starting to come into it now, and I'm starting to see more of us doing it, including myself. Why is it something that is so has been such a taboo, if you want to call it like that, or not so much as something that people like to admit that they need to do? Why is that seemingly in the Black community, and same, I'm putting in quotation marks, seemingly something that we don't like doing?
I think two things. Go ahead. You can go for it. Yeah, two things I think is, one, religion. We've got this thing as Christians that, we're just meant to pray to God, open the Bible and get the answers and get healed. That's the small thing. And then the bigger explanation, I think, is Black people have always meant to be tough. So it's always like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, blah, 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 did it 20 years ago. Why can't you do it? Whereas they were kind of, with this trauma bonding, you've been bringing trauma down from generations, but didn't really talk about it, swept it under the rug. And so why can't you do the same? And I think we're now becoming more enlightened. We have the space or the luxury to actually think and say, this doesn't work. What would really work? And so I think that's why we're now beginning to accept that, no, there's another way. We don't just have to have this stiff upper lip and pretend nothing is wrong, because we don't want to see it going down to the generations after us.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think that it comes down to identity again, because a lot of times we have prided ourselves on these labels. Like she said, tough. I say strong. The Black woman has to be strong. And so with that strength, it meant that you had to take everything, put it on your back and carry it. And you didn't want to show any vulnerability. And vulnerability would mean weakness. And so vulnerability would mean being open to ask for help. And going to a counselor means that you're admitting that you have a problem. And a lot of times we're thinking something is wrong with us anyway. And so we really do not want to look at that really in the mirror. We'll rather play it in our head than to look at it in the mirror and really find out that somebody else thinks that we have a problem. But the truth is, none of us, there's nothing wrong with us. You are worthy because you exist.
That's right. Amen.
Take it in. You're worthy because you exist. And another thing, for my grandparents, they took pride in who they were. They actually came up picking cotton. They only had third grade education, and so they passed down values from that to be strong, to be tough, and to make it happen with what you have, no matter how limited of resources that might be. And so that passes down as well. And so then we make do and think that we have to come from a place of deficit than a place of fullness. And so I really want to help people to appreciate that too, to think differently. Like if you hear yourself or see yourself or think from a place of you don't have, something is missing, that is scarcity thinking. Stop it. You have everything you need. It's available to you.
Yeah, I agree with many points you brought out. One thing I would say Lola mentioned, as Christians, many people feel that it's indicative of a spiritual problem. You know, if you're depressed, for instance, or if you have anxiety, and they'll say, you know, where's your faith, or you need to get into your Bible more, or pray about it, and pray it away, sort of thing. And that's not really how it works. If we really look at the scriptures, you know, there were like Job, he regretted the day he was born. He wanted to be aborted. Elijah, you know, he had to have food and water delivered to him. He wanted to die. Like, I mean, we have multiple accounts of individuals in the Bible who experience many of the same challenges and feelings, mental and emotional health problems that we do, but no one talks about that. So they make it seem as though something's wrong with you spiritually, and that's definitely false. And then I would say the stigma that's associated with it, I think you guys touched on that. Like, you know, it's very heavy. We've definitely been enlightened. We've come a long way as a people, I would say, as a human race, and then particularly in the Black community. Still got a long way to go, though. I mean, no one wants to be labeled, you know, in that negative light, or something's wrong with you. And so it doesn't help others feel comfortable, you know, discussing it or seeking therapy. They want to sweep it under the rug. It's like a bad thing, you know. So I think it's a combination of those two. Yeah.
And the biggest thing is the label of crazy, right? Because we were actually infiltrated by government, where big business is pharmaceutical companies. And in order for them to become big business, they needed some product. And so they made their product these medications that's supposed to help psychotics or crazy individuals. And then they start creating all these titles. So now you have schizophrenia, and you have all of these different labels of what we perceive crazy to be. And they take it to our schools and made our children ADD, whatever, and all these acronyms. And put our children on all these psych meds that were not useful for them, that would make them to react and overreact. And then we label them crazy. And then the cycle just continues and continues and continues. And so I think that also is a big impediment to individuals wanting therapy or feeling like something is wrong with them.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is we're imperfect. We're sinful creatures. So there are many things that are wrong with us, like collectively. And I see what you're saying, Shalonda, like there's nothing wrong with us, but there is in actuality, just because of that. So there may be like some chemical imbalances and then trauma and different things people have gone through in their lives where it's like any other medical problem. You know, if you have cancer, you need chemo and radiation. If you have a heart disease, you may need open heart surgery. There's no difference if you have a mental chemical imbalance or some emotional problem that needs treatment, you know. And many people are
if it's valid,
right. I mean, schizophrenia, for instance, obviously that person needs medication, you know. That's not something you can just sit and pray and hope, you know. So it depends, and there's alternative forms of treatment. Each individual would have to make a decision on that, but there's definitely real issues and problems that people have, and we just need to create that space for them to feel comfortable. Just self-improvement, you know, and not being ashamed or embarrassed for things that they have no control over. You know, if you get cancer, was that your fault? Okay, no. If I have anxiety, is that my fault? So we blame. It's almost like we shame and blame people for feeling a certain way, and typically they don't have any control over it. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah.
There's a lot of nuances to the conversation. Lola, do you want to have the last words? Because I'm gonna get you guys.
Yeah.
And get another batch in, but I want you to stay behind the scenes because we'll bring you back.
So
on.
A message to Naya. Are you going to be keeping this live? So maybe she can listen to this. We wish her well, and we definitely wish her to maybe just have a session with a therapist just to see what she can work out. Because the purpose of this whole thing is for us to be all better. Because essentially we are all one. So if she's doing better, I'm doing better. So Naya, girl, please get some help. We love you, but we're just watching from afar. So we want you to grow.
Love that.
Real talk.
Ladies, nice positive, loving note.
Yes.
Hey, that was like a open prayer right there. She asked for prayers. That was a nice declaration.
It was very smooth.
I like that.
Thank you.
Ladies, I'm going to put you in the background so you don't have to go anywhere. We'll probably bring you back on in a second. I'm just going to bring on some few people after. But yeah, stay in the background. We'll bring you back on again. Is that all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. No worries, sisters. Thank you. Okay, so you got. Oh my God!
Oh,
hey guys! Boom! Just like that. Boom!
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 Hello!
Hello! How y'all doing?
I'm great.
I'm good.
Okay, so I got Karen. I got Joy. You in trouble anyway because you know you always get me in the comments. Kia, how you doing? Is it Kia? Let me just get it right because I pronounce names. You know, if you watch me, you know I destroy names. So is it Kia?
Like the car.
Fantastic.
Like the car.
Fantastic. All right, cool. If I go to Karen first, Karen, give us your rendition. What do you think about the interview, about Naya, whatever you want to talk about? Flow. Let's go with it and let's talk about it. Go for it, sis. Oh, can you hear me, Karen? Oh,
all right. I think
okay, cool.
This is my first time.
Okay, God bless you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sis. Go for it.
Okay. It was unbelievable today. I think Naya was trying to just kind of save face, but it was just a little bit difficult to really appreciate what she was saying, basically. I think everybody was really interested to get her viewpoint, but I just don't think she was being straight, unfortunately. And I think a lot of people listen to you because they want to hear the feedback and get your point of view, you know, from a different perspective. But I don't think there was anything you could really even gather from what she was saying. It was very long-winded. She was evasive, and she was just trying to say, you know, I was the cream of the crop, but nobody appreciated my presence. You know.
I rock with that. I hear that. Karen. I hear that, Karen. Thank you. I appreciate it. Joy, if I go to you, Joy, do you want to give us your rendition? How did you feel? What did you think? I know you was cutting up in the comments. So
I was.
Don't be to be quiet now, girl. Go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I know I'm a clown, but I did try. I was quiet and I tried to hear how she was gonna present herself at first. And I mean, I play around a lot because that's just me. But to me, I kept saying the eyes. There was this vacant look in her eyes, and the eyes showed everything. It showed all this hidden pain. It showed trauma. It showed but it also showed threat. Like, don't you dare peel back these layers. Like, I totally saw that in her. And you can almost see her switch to this, threatening mode whenever you got too deep. So, you know, even with her, or she'll go to a threatening mode and then she'll go to this, oh, I don't care. And it was just all this facade. I feel like she, disconnected from herself a very long time ago. And I mean, being serious is actually kind of sad because she just built up this really tough facade and wall. So I was just like, look, just throw this one in. LBB, you do a great job. This one I don't think you're going to do in an hour or so because the walls are so thick. So even when she's like, what do the comments say? And it's like, oh, I don't care, pray for me. I think it was the one young lady that talked about, she didn't really want us to pray for her. That was just another umbrella to hide under. Like, do not get past these layers. And that's what her eyes showed everything. And so, I mean, it's so hard because she was just showing such an ugly side of herself, but she probably just has a whole bunch of trauma and things that are not dealt with deep down inside of her. And she decided to build a brick wall, very tough brick wall. And just, when people talk about themselves, like, well, I'm the best, and usually they don't believe it themselves. So it's just kind of like, okay, girl, like, to say he had the cream of the crop and all this stuff. And it's just like, I wasn't buying any of it. It was all just to save face because, a lot of people, when we talk about therapy and things of that nature, getting past those walls, the fear is that you're going to pull away those layers, and then I'm never going to recover. That's why you need a proper therapist to be able to guide you through and make you feel like it's a safe space, because you feel like I'm not going to recover if I go that deep. So she did. I felt like she had a teleprompter, like, yep, oh, this is going to ask. It was like she was reading a teleprompter with these answers that she already had. She probably went through her whole head as to what could possibly be asked and have an answer already ready, because you're not going to, I'm tough. I'm Naya. You're not going to get past these layers. So, I got a man waiting for me. Even I'm 39 years old. Like, who's going to say I got a bunch of men? Like, that's childish. That's I got men waiting for me. Like, what woman doesn't? That's very childish to say. So all that was just a facade. I wasn't really buying any of it. I went off in the comments. That's what I do. It's funny. But at the end of the day, I'm with Lola. We all want us to do better because we're all one. It was just there. It was going nowhere because she was just all over the map, just trying to hide behind, this wall. And I think if she watches it back, she probably should watch herself and not the comments, because she could probably see how she was kind of all over the place. And that's some deep layers there. It's going to take somebody special to get through those layers. What Chris said, I wouldn't like that if someone's like, hey, you need to, just split down the middle. I mean, if you're going to do that, then that's something that you discuss. But to say, the way he expressed himself was wrong. I don't think he meant the way he expressed himself. And she did. She popped right off. And I was like, well, where your paycheck going to go, girl? If you ain't going to be paying everything. I mean, to each his own. But she just, she wasn't honest about any of it, because she knew for sure that we were going to ask about that. So she wasn't honest about that. She was just like, oh, this is what I'm going to say if they say that. This is what I'm going to say if they say that. Because clearly you were done with that man as soon as you didn't hear what you wanted to say. Even getting past the layers of the multiple miscarriages and who was it by? Were you in a serious relationship? Like, why did you, why do you want to have children? It's all of that is fine. But what is behind? What's her story? We didn't get anywhere. Yeah. And so I will really pray for her, whether she was joking or not.
Go for it, Key. Go for it, Key. Give it to us. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
I personally just, because I had to stop watching because she was not answering anything. When I saw that you came up with your live, I saw in the chat that people were saying, yes, go live. And I saw you went live. I said, well, let me see what he had to say, because maybe he'll give a rundown. But what I did catch and what struck me, and I put it in the chat, was you said that initially you were going because you were ready for love. And then when you found out things changed, you didn't take it seriously. And so you sat in that man's face and isolated him from people, knowing you were not taking it seriously. And because of that, you did not vote for him, because if you did, he would have been on there, because everyone saw y'all were together. So you wouldn't have really had the fight, because they had already saw y'all together. So compassion, like, yeah, but they saw you disown them and you probably didn't vote for him. And that's why he got off. And then you ruined his chances at finding love with someone else. So that's what bothered me. That's what I was able to catch. Like everyone else, I caught the whole, and she's a beautiful woman. I'm here for the bossing up, all of that. But I think Joy said it with the eyes. And me and my fiance, we watched the show together. And I don't, I keep a lot of things to myself because I don't want to come across like I'm hating or being too critical. But I saw it in the beginning when she was connecting with Chris in her eyes that it was not for real. I said, girl, you plan on taking your shoes off walking in this dirt. You don't do that for real. You just, your eyes got big when he said cockroaches. You don't be out there with your feet on the grass for real. So that was just my thing about it. And everybody that you've brought on here has brought great dialogue into it. But I definitely believe she was being authentically herself. She showed what she showed on the show. And she said it when she walked off, y'all ain't gonna embarrass me. So she wants to save face. She put on the front. Y'all ain't gonna embarrass me. I'm gonna embarrass me. So, and that's just what I feel about it.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, it's my fault. My fault. Please go ahead.
We need to get production on. Everybody blames production for everything.
If someone can get a connect for me, I'll be brilliant. You know what? I need to send a message to Will Packer and just get him on here or something. Somebody needs to get on here and explain themselves.
We see the words that are coming out of your mouth. Like, we can see you. Right. Stop.
Well, she should have just been straight. I mean, she said she had all this free time and it was a good opportunity for her to just come on the show and do something different. I mean, she should have just said in the end it was just about the money, I guess. She had that kind of attitude at the end.
She said it was pennies and dog food, so I don't think it was that. She just she's a lost soul. It's okay.
I think again, listening to what she was saying, because again, this is where I think you guys, ladies, have picked it up very well. There is these dichotomies, like she's got one point where she said she wouldn't come on there because she's ready to love. Then the next point is like, it's about the coin and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, so sis, which one is it? So that we can get an understanding of where your viewpoint is. And I think what I'm seeing is somebody who is, something happened on the show, you've acted out, and now you're watching it back, you're like, rah, how do I cover the madness? How do I cover that? I need to have an excuse as to why, because it doesn't make sense. You're holding two opposing views. Either you came there for money or you came there for love. Now, not to say that you couldn't hold two views, but you didn't say it like you're holding both views. You said it as opposing views. I came there for money or I came there for love. And I think when I'm watching that and I'm listening to that, I think that's what confuses me as well. So like you said, Kia, she's kind of, then if you're not serious about it, you've wasted someone who potentially could have been on that show and found love. And I know it's not always they find love or ready to love. But
you wasted your time for those meager accommodations that, she was, just so upset about,
Girl. She was lying.
You wasted your time, so... Yeah. But she definitely wasted Chris's time. I mean, it's great ratings and such, but I would say to her and anyone else that, got kicked off, are you ready to love yourself?
Of course.
And that's it.
Well, in this conversation that she supposedly had, I don't believe it at all, because why would Joy say, trust me, you don't want to talk to Naya? Like, we can see the words, guys. Stop with the production stuff. I mean, I believe production does probably whisper things, but was it Rashid that said you can choose whether or not to entertain it? And she said, y'all wanted this show, so I gave it to y'all. You can't give us nothing that's not there. So now you got to live with it. It's on air.
Yeah.
And really, if she was so dissatisfied with the entire process, happy with the options of people who were there or like the food or the accommodation, she should have just out. She should have just taken herself out of the process, and we all would have looked at her completely differently for that. It's not like because of the choice of men who were there that you're able to find a match. Possibility that there wasn't a good match there for her, so she should have been more honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the only one to talk about the food. I mean, was she ready to love or ready to eat? It's ready to love. Like, find your boy and go.
Oh gosh.
I mean, maybe the food probably was bad though. I did hear Calfani said the food wasn't that great. He said it wasn't bad, but he said it wasn't that great. I mean, maybe it wasn't that. I mean, I get it. I mean, I get it. I guess that's not the reason why she didn't have a good time, though, is it? That's not why she didn't have a good time. And I think And just to obviously answer some of the comments as well, the thing is, you see, this is something I think is such, when you go on a TV show, you open yourself up to criticism because we're going to see your behavior, right?
Yeah.
So when someone has an opinion on your behavior, so long as it's not like, trying to slaughter you or kill you, you've got to handle that. I'm just seeing some of the comments, so I'm just kind of answering it. Because when we're giving our comments, it's because that's what we're seeing at the time. You put yourself in the show. Like if she's behaving like that on the show, we can only go by what we see on the show. We can't see the invisible stuff. We can't see it. So this is why these interviews are, this is why I let people talk. Because what we want to do is give that person enough rope to hang themselves, which means that you should talk as much as you can talk so that we can actually see what you actually mean. Because if I'm interrupting you every single time you talk because I want to get certain answers out of you, I want to know, Naya, so you're this, that, I want to know this. No, if I do that, what happens, I don't give you enough chance to actually exercise what's on your mind. Then I can say, okay, here, when I go watch the video again and watch the live again, I'm gonna have to sit down properly and decipher it. What did she say? What are the little things that she put in there that I didn't hear at first? Because without that, you can never break the person down. If you're here just trying to get the tea and trying to get the hardest answers, you actually miss a lot of the conversation that is said when the person doesn't even realize they're saying something. So that's why I always say that, even to the audience, I say, let them talk. Brian did the same thing. Simone did the exact same thing. But actually now when you see them talk, you can now see, that's why that's happening, or that's why this person thinks that. You know what I mean? You let them talk.
She said at the end about, when you said the comments were bad, she's like,
it was
bad. They still watching? I was like, yes, girl, we watching. It's COVID. We gotta know what to do. Yes, we are watching. We are watching your show. We're watching your behavior.
But we want to support Kojo. We want to support the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy what you do. I like watching what you do. You're amazing at what you do. So yes, we did stay. It may not have been for you, but we stayed.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the comments stayed on.
I didn't stay. I came to the other live though because I couldn't do it. I couldn't, and I didn't stay with Simone either. I couldn't do it with Brian either. No. You're not answering the questions. And I love the show and I love your breakdown, like I said. And you're asking the question and I'm looking at your face. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. You do a good face. You do a good face, but I can still, you'll look away like, they're not answering the question, like, okay. Okay. But when you'll try to get back and it's still something else. But I don't know. A lot of them, may have never been on TV before. So all of this may be new for them. I get what Simone was saying about the whole, this is the end of the year. So I wanted to get everything out, I guess. But because I can't do any more interviews. But, they're still regular people and they may not have PRs and things of that nature. So I'm not going to be too critical. We just, it's a dialogue here and it's stuff for us to look at. It's information and examples for us to look at. I relate with Naya wanting to be a mother, being older, knowing that I'm going to have to be on bed rest, but, and this is something because I have, trauma as well as, a lot of us do. And, I'm thankful for my fiance because he's patient to help me with those things. You can't bring a baby if it's already been stressful for you. You're not going to be able to really bring a baby into the world under
that kind of stress,
this darkness, within. And, or if you will, I'm not going to say not, I don't want to say that, but if you will, is it going to be all that you dreamed it would be? And I'm going to tell you the answer is no, because even if you were full of light, it's still not going to be everything you thought it would be, because that's life. And so what's going to happen next? You can't walk away from your child. Well, parents do, but those behaviors may trickle down into how you become a mother and, just saying, and I don't want to get into all of that, but it's just things to be mindful of, because that was a real cold way to do someone who clearly was showing his, good intention. And so that that says a lot about that individual, that you would even think to do that. And it's not to say that we haven't broken someone's heart before, but that was complete intentional with no type of room for explanation and growth. And if you won't allow that with him, you're not allowing that with yourself. And that's why can't nobody tell you anything, you know.
I love that.
I'm done. My mouth dry.
Don't worry, sis. I got you. I got you. Ladies, stay on. I'm gonna put you in the background. I'm gonna bring on 3 people on, and then we'll continue the conversation. You get me? So stay in the background for me. It's all right. I'm gonna remove you there. All right. All right. Let me bring on my people. Them ladies. Talk to me. I want a real question. I guess I want to ask this question: how does trauma affect dating for Black women? I want to ask this question because, as a Black male, I'm in UK as well. I can see how it can affect, but I'm not a woman. So what I like to ask real women. How does trauma or how does past events affect you in your dating or, in your realms of everyday life, if you want to call it that? How does it affect? I think this is a really key question to ask.
I believe your perception, how you might see things, how you would meet someone. You could see 5 gentlemen sitting in a chair. You could end up connecting to the worst one for you based on your trauma, which is when we talk about trauma bonding, how they speak with you. Someone may not be respectful, but based on what you've seen in the past, if you came from abuse, that seems familiar to you. So you're drawn to it as opposed to running from it. Even in the way you relate, everything you do, which is why they always preach about healing before you go into a new relationship, because it covers everything you do. And then if you eventually wake up and realize that I need to stop this, you can't go on until you clear that slate, because it's almost compulsive. It's intuitive. You can't even stop it unless you stop and think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Lola. We're all energy, right? And so for me personally, I had a lot of trauma with my relationship with my dad, and he was emotionally unavailable. And because he was emotionally unavailable, I was real resistant to that. And my resistance created more of it. And so I started to date emotionally unavailable men. But at the time, I was totally unaware of what was going on. And so we were having this battle, and I knew that the experience was familiar, but I didn't equate the experience with what I had experienced in the past. And it did take for me becoming more aware and mindful, as Lola mentioned, to even know that it was a thing, and then to get to the level where I wanted to do something about the thing, so that I'm aware of it. I know it triggers me. I know my response to it, and I don't have to resist it, but now I can be aware of it and bring my energy to a level to attract what it is that I desire versus what it is that I no longer desire.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was interesting how Naya actually spoke on this a bit, and I don't know, I was so confused by her because she's speaking about it, but yet she's totally unaware at the same time. I really wasn't understanding. So she said that she would search out men who had some of the same toxic traits about themselves as she did. She felt like she was attracting what she was at the time, as though she had grown. But that's debatable. I don't know her personally. Yeah. So and then she went on to say how when her grandmother passed away and her mom, being an only child, obviously the level of closeness and intimacy that she shared with her mom, it hits differently, when you can't share in that grief with siblings or other people in your household. So obviously that was a traumatic event, and she was kind of searching out fulfillment to fill that void that was missing now in a partner, which is totally unrealistic and not fair. And so I definitely feel like those things, they have an effect on who we seek out and how we interact with people, what we expect of them. And it definitely, it's something you need to address, as Lola mentioned, prior to. It doesn't matter how much you're burning to be in a relationship with someone, or even if you meet someone you're interested in, if you know you're not healthy, if you know that you have work to do, you have to put that on pause, like get yourself together. Otherwise you're doing yourself a disservice and potential person that would come into your life. So it definitely takes a level of discipline to do that, self-control, and you have to be willing to do the work and to know when you need to do the work and to admit to yourself when you're not ready. That's it.
Yeah. And I think as well, I mean, and I love what you ladies are saying, because I did pick up on when she said, obviously, that, you know, there was some traumatic events that were happening. But on this, it was like, unlike other people, she didn't give me the door to enter. So there was no door for me to start that kind of conversation where we can get deep. And sometimes when you try to go deep with that kind of conversation, the person doesn't open the door, you cause more trauma and more problems for that person. Because I was seeing that there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that have affected her. That's why I never asked about the miscarriages. I felt like the conversation is going in a way that it's not going to open us up to that kind of conversation. And it will be best served maybe a one-to-one or whatever I get with her. But the conversation didn't open itself up to be able to have, like you're saying, that deep conversation. Because I think, as you mentioned, that you know, so many people passing in 2012, and then you've had 4 miscarriages alongside that. You're just seeing death everywhere. And that hits someone so differently, because just as you're beginning to maybe even start to grieve, something else hits you, and it's almost like you're always getting hit. And I think me and Kay and someone else was talking about this on the Skype call that we had, the monthly call. We're talking about how when storms come, like, you know, you almost want a perfect storm where it's not too hard, but you can get through it. But when the storm comes and it's knocking down everything, including yourself, and you get back up and it hits you again, and you get back up and it hits everything again, it's not just taking you, it's taking everything around you. That can be so disheartening to a point where you just don't even want to live. So I wish we could have got to a point where we spoke about that, because I think that would have opened us up to why Naya is the way she is, rather than what we got. We got representative.
Yeah, there was a couple things that I had with the 4 miscarriages. Did that happen all with one guy? And what was that relationship with? Was there multiple guys? And if so, what did that look like? What was the time span between that? Those are the questions that I had. But there was one thing that I noticed when she was, you know, defensive with her walls up. She mentioned that she always have guys around. And so she first presented it as though those guys were suitors, right? But then she said, well, we could go out to lunch and we might just be kicking it, or, you know, having business conversation or whatever. So now they're not really seeking you, they're around. But when she ended it, she said, yeah, I don't pay them no mind because they ain't about nothing. And I was like, why are you around guys that's not about nothing when you're all of this, that, and a bag of chips? So it just showed that energy, and you attract who you are no matter what.
Yeah. She definitely was on the defensive, and I think she spent a lot of time trying to cover her tracks or present that representative. But of course, when you tell too many lies, it's hard to keep up. So within the hour and a half we were with her, she had spun around 4 or 5 times. But I don't think she realized it. Now she goes to the playback, she's going to look at it, but with her personality, it's going to be everybody else's fault but hers. So Kojo, be ready. She's going to be talking about you next, that you tricked her, you asked her, you know, leading questions. I don't know if she's ready to that point yet to heal, because she has to be ready. She has to see it in herself and acknowledge it, and maybe probably not on a public forum. So we don't know. Maybe she has family members that might bring her to where she needs to be, but I don't think she's anywhere close to wanting to heal yet. It's the way she's presented, because she's still trying to protect the image.
Yeah, and I avoid calling people. I'm sorry.
Go on, okay, yeah, go for it.
I avoid calling people, you know, narcissist. I like how we rephrase it, narcissistic tendencies, traits. But yeah, unfortunately, I kind of saw some of that. And one of the main signs is, you know, the person just can't see. They don't see anything negative about themselves. It's always the other person's fault. It's always because you did this, you said that. Well, no, it was set up this way. Well, no, you guys aren't understanding. I'm being misunderstood. There's like this grandiose sense of self. And so that lack of humility and being able to recognize areas where you need to improve as a person, typically that's missing. And so that's one of the major signs. So if she truly has that, I mean, from what I've been told, therapy can help possibly. But you just have to be
depending.
Yeah, it depends on how deep it is. But I don't know. Again, and we don't want to bash her, because for me, I just feel for people that like that. They don't understand and they need help. So
yeah.
But also, I seen a quote today about being grounded in reality. And so sometimes we get grounded in our stories, the narratives we make up in our head, what other people are talking about, what other people we perceive are doing or whatever. And we don't think about what reality is for us. And so just being truthful with ourselves and grounding ourselves in reality is helpful. And so hopefully, if Naya does reflect on any of this, she can just ask herself what's real and start to dig from there.
Well, I think everything happens for a reason. So maybe her going on the show like this and being forced to see herself or family members seeing her in this public light might be the ignition or the ammunition that might make her go in that direction, that might lead to her healing. Because it's plain. I mean, you can blame editing, but we all know you give the editor something to edit. So hopefully this might be a good start for her.
I love that. And I think, you ladies again have encapsulated the truth again about it. And I think the way that you're talking about it is really making me again think about, and this is all of us human beings, we are in need of reflection, because oftentimes we don't get to see how our behavior looks to the outside world. We have our own lenses, and I think we've said it earlier on, if you've got a broken lens at that point in time, you will see the world against me, rather than looking at some things here just need to be sorted out and I need to deal with myself. And I think I just did a recording for the Denise and Kalfani situation in a recent episode, and I was talking about the fact that she had 19 years off, but those 19 years, if you don't spend that time working, it doesn't matter how long you're off for. Because all you've done is just taken a break. So the refining, the growth of the individual isn't necessarily just about time. It's about the work that one puts in and the amount of time they're spending to reflect on their behavior and what they do. And I would hope that it's not narcissism, because that is a much more difficult situation to be in. I want to hope that it's more of defense mechanisms, pain that she's suffering, and it's just been something that has been built up as a wall over time. I'm hoping for that one, because that can be sorted. When it's narcissism, it's very much more difficult to have that conversation and to get help in that respect. So I don't know if you ladies want to add to that as well. So
Well, I always like to err on the side of hope. So
yes,
I'm very hopeful that it can just be a lack of awareness, and that we all have levels to consciousness. We don't just wake up with it, and each one is going to be on their journey and take it one step at a time. So hopefully she's at a point where she's tipping. And a lot of time when you have storm after storm after storm, the disruptions are there to heighten your awareness, to help you to challenge yourself to change, and to help you be stronger and better, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So definitely taking the time to look at those experiences and what you can glean from them, will make you better. So eventually she will, because you get forced to after a while.
I agree with that. I try my best to be an optimist, but I'm also a realist as well. So some of the things she was saying, like, I don't know, it was really concerning. And speaking about the option, she was alluding to, she's like, well, one can do this for me, the other can do that, and I'm the prize. We need to remember I'm the prize here. It was almost like, what can you do for me? What can you add to my life? Do you check my boxes? It had nothing to do with what she could offer. I don't know. There was some things in there. And to me, once again, it's kind of leading to the narcissistic type of. Unfortunately, I have a lot of experience with narcissistic people. I tend to attract those types of people in my life. I don't know why, but thankfully, I've been learning how to recognize it and how to interact and deal and kind of protect myself. And so I can notice it pretty quickly. And it just seems as though, she's about herself, her image, how she feels, what she needs in her life. What can you do for me? And I'm the prize. And I mean, it's just not looking good. If she's truly not I don't know. I can't speak on it. I can't diagnose her, but I would definitely say she needs some therapy. Yeah.
I can't predict what her future journey will be, but I think for us as the viewers, what we should take from this self-reflection, because we all have some of these traits, because she's spitting out some of the catchphrases, you're the prize, you're the this, some of the self-confidence that's not necessarily true self-confidence, but it's been posted on top just to give the appearance of confidence. Exactly, the ego is leading, but who's behind the ego is the insecurity. But what we need to take from that is recognize that we ourselves are not perfect. We also need work to do, and hopefully by the grace of God, she will find that point where she gets her healing. But I'm guilty too, because I was going crazy. I was a savage in the comments, but I also look within myself and realize there's some things she's saying and doing that I could fix in myself. So I think for us, it's going to be self-reflection for us, and maybe standing away from the judgment. Yes, it's entertainment, but also we're all people. So we see the person in her, and hopefully, and pray for her. Well, I probably won't kneel down tonight, but just hope that she will find her way.
Keep it real.
She'll find her way eventually, but I just want to use it as a point for self-reflection, which is why I love watching these reviews, because I always use an example to look back at myself. Or what am I doing? What do I need to fix?
I appreciate that so much. You put it so nicely, because I can really go deep with. I don't like to refer to it as negative thinking. I see what it is and I call it. This is what it is, and we're going to talk about it. As opposed to, I could probably use a bit more of a loving.
It's not loving, don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, it comes from love.
Just tact. Don't worry, Kay. Don't worry, Kay. We need some of that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? There's a question there I want you ladies to answer as well. It says, does the media have a responsibility to address mental health? For you guys watching the show, we see Ready to Love, and we're talking about, nasty. We're talking about going through traumatic events, storms, and anything like that. Does the media that we're watching, the TV that we're consuming, have a responsibility to also address things like mental health, or is that something that we should be discussing?
They do have a responsibility, I think, to reflect the current times, but ultimately that responsibility lies on us. Our growth is on us. Now, of course, if the media is doing something positive and recognizing what they should do, at the end of the day, they're going to be chasing green. What makes money, what brings the numbers, that is their bottom line. That's how they stay open. So, of course, OWN Network likes to give this positive thing. But, of course, they say reality TV. They want the conflict. They want the madness. Yeah. So they want that madness in it. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, we still have to look within us and say, it's my responsibility. It's like saying the media and the public is responsible for raising our children. They're not. We can kind of control it. We can ask them to be more responsible. But the work lies within us. We can't put it on somebody else.
I think our currency is our attention, right? And so the media has mastered capturing our attention, and the media has been very intentional about the programming that they send out, because it captures the attention of our mental, and it also does something to it too as well. And because they have had such an instrumental role in programming our psyche, I personally hold them responsible to do something about the damage that they've caused. And what I believe that OWN is trying to do, and other networks that's similar, that tap into this realm, is find a balance. Captivate our attention in what we're used to with the negative programming, but then switch it to have us having dialogue like this. If OWN didn't have that platform and put something different on their airwaves that we would tune into, we would still be doing Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I never watched that. Just I have to say that.
I still watch it.
I'm saying Scandal, Empire, Power, all of that. Look at what that content is. Yeah. What is positive about any of it, and how it gets people so engaged and have them so riled up, and then have them act out the scenes in real life. So now we're getting some of the conflict, but now we're analyzing it. We're seeing how it's no longer serving us. We're also seeing how it's in someone else, but it's also in me. And now I need to do some self-reflection. And I think that is powerful, and it's necessary. And sometimes it takes an entity big bigger than ourselves to do something like that. For us to even get aware and get conscious to want to do something personally. But at the end of the day, it is always going to be our responsibility to care for our mental health. And so we should take that very serious.
I agree with that as well. I mean, there's other programs like Ayanla. I enjoy her.
Ooh, yeah.
They have the
Yeah.
therapist
Tears,
on
boy.
Put a Ring
It's a
on
hot
it.
season.
Yeah, very deep. She's a very deep person. Like,
just tears.
But so to say, okay, does media have a responsibility? In some sense, yes. But like the lady said here, I do feel that it primarily lies with us. We can't expect them to use that platform. I think, like Lola said, they're going after ratings and money, and at the end of the day, it's not about our mental health and motivating people to to seek self-care, and that's not the primary goal there. So we as a people, as individuals, we have to do the work and become aware of what we need to do in order to better ourselves. So yeah, it's definitely more of a personal thing. They can use the platform. I mean, they're trying, like she said, 50-50, trying to introduce some new types of programming in and get us thinking about it and talking about it. But that's not the primary goal at all.
Which I totally understand, because it's business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this kind of conversation around Married at First Sight, the same kind of thing. It's like, is there need for the drama, sometimes the over dramatizing of the show? Does it need that? Because relationships itself have so much drama in already, you know what I mean? Like, and so sometimes I think you girls, let's say you ladies have said it correctly when you say that I think there can be a balance. I even if it's not necessarily a show where the show is focused on that, maybe an after show like we're doing now, they could have somebody doing this so that we can see another side, or what I mean? Or even if it's not you guys, you can employ somebody that is not necessarily under own to do it on a separate thing or whatever, and do it on their network, but you guys just sponsor it or something, so that there is a broader conversation. Because
listen, Kojo, we got you. You should do that show. Oprah, listen, Kojo is already plugged in. He is the best on YouTube in reviewing Regular Love, and reviewing Put a Ring on it. And we need these after reflections.
Yes.
By Kojo.
Yes.
Sponsor it, girl. You got it.
Let's put it on the
Let's heighten the enlightenment and awareness.
Yes. Yes. True. Own network. I hope they're paying attention, because you're speaking with a lot of the people, so there must be a little buzz. So the work speaks for itself. We just need the right person to see and hear it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
it takes off.
All right, Will Packer. We holding you accountable. Don't make me act like Monique up in here. I'll throw you out.
Oh my goodness.
I want to ask my last question, because we've got last 15 minutes, because we're going to hit 2 hours now. So my last 15 minutes, let me ask a question. Because obviously I'm going to go away from Naya, actually, because we're speaking about mental health. Edwin on the show. Edwin on the show.
She took a deep breath.
Do you know what? I'll just leave it as that. Edwin on the show. What do you guys think? Because we're talking about mental health now. So, and we're talking about on the screen, and we're talking about relationships. Edwin on the show. What's you guys' thoughts? I mean, what are you guys saying?
I think it could be either one of us, because you can see he's a good person. He has a good heart.
Yes.
He has some idea of what he wants to, or who he wants to be, but he's not ready for love. And he's got all these things going for him. He only needs, I guess he's been resistant to the thought of, not maybe to the thought, but to the process of therapy, because it's not one visit and it's not a thought. That's not where you get your healing. So he's almost there, but he's not quite there yet. So he's probably more relatable than some of the other characters or personalities on the show, because he's got all the other things going for him. He's got depth. He's got understanding. He definitely has the capacity to love, but he still has some things going on which could also come out if he was to meet someone he's not quite ready. So I think he has, hopefully, I don't know how it ends. We don't know if he ends up with anyone, but hopefully he can look back on this and really use this as an example to pursue the therapy. And I love the relationship he's having with Joy, where she's been encouraging him and whispering in his ear that whatever happens, you know what? You definitely need the therapy. And particularly the last scene they had on the last episode where they were both in tears. That was actually, I thought I was cutting onions at the time.
So beautiful.
I was blinking it back. But definitely that's a clear picture to he's open, because if you're not open, you can't heal. He's open and he's almost ready. So I'm rooting for him. I don't necessarily want him to be paired up with anyone now, because I think we can, as all the viewers, we can see he's not ready yet, but he will be ready shortly once he gets into the process of healing.
100% agree with that. You could see he's a good person. And Joy, she was just looking. She's like, you're a good guy. Like I felt so sad. It was like they were parting ways. They knew they weren't right for each other romantically. It just wasn't. They weren't. But she cared for him as an individual. She could see that he's a good person, and she wanted him to seek help and get better. But I believe he's humble enough and aware enough now that he's going to do that. And I agree. He's totally not ready for love right now. But once he seeks treatment and grows, he'll be good. I think he'll be okay.
Oh, I was triggered by Edwin when he first opened his mouth. Please,
my girl started the whole conversation. I was triggered. I said, "Oh, damn."
When he opened his mouth, I was like, "What? How did you make it on the show?" And then I was like, "Okay, maybe they cut that up." So I was like, "Okay," they were at the pool, and that was when the one loud girl was in there, and she got away from him. And I was like, "If she knew to run, all y'all better run." Okay. But
she was a little bit shallow.
As we progressed, he did get better. He did seem like, because he really wanted Joy. It was apparent. And he also knew that he couldn't have her.
Yeah.
And I was like, you ain't know that before you came on here. I don't know. So I was conflicted with Edwin, because I was just not. I wasn't as optimistic as Kay here. I'm so surprised. I was like, get off of my TV.
I try.
I can see the angel in him. There's an angel in all of us, and the demon sometimes likes to take over, but he definitely let the angel out. There was some, vulnerability. He was open. He was transparent, which is the whole process. He just had a few more things to fix. He's probably more ready than 100 of the guys, or maybe 90% of the guys out here today. He's almost there, but he's not there yet. So I can appreciate
because if
him.
you were to get into a relationship, he doesn't need a therapist and a partner. He can't be
right.
And that's what she would become.
Yes,
essentially, just like Joy was coaching them and motivating them.
Exactly.
We need to get there. Yeah, we need to be past that when it comes to a romantic partner.
Yeah.
So
you're not a coach. You're not a mommy in a relationship.
No, I mean you can motivate someone, but
I'm not coaching you.
The counsel that he needs.
Yeah.
No, that's too much pressure, and he needs a qualified person. But I don't know. I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad.
It touched me.
It did. Yeah.
I'm gonna add 2 more people to the quick comments. They want to have their viewpoint on this particular topic, so I'm just gonna add 2 more. You've got 2 more we can add. Joy and Key. Joy and Key. You want to give?
I'm with Alonda. I was slightly triggered. I have 2 sides to it because, as I said in the chat, I tend to attract men that I probably should have just been their therapist. So on one end, he seems like a nice guy, but he cooks. He takes off his dog tag. He clings to Joy. He's still looking outside. He is not looking within yet. He's not ready to love yet. He needs to dig in those layers. And when they were walking outside and it looked like Joy just wanted to have her little peaceful walk, and here he come, I felt that. I felt Joy's pain, like, well, Lord, that I've been through that. Where it's like, I just want my walk, bro. Like, okay, we had a conversation and it was beautiful, but right now this is Joy time and you're a little heavy. So, I mean, yes, I do understand, he has some work to do and stuff, but I felt for Joy as well, because she said very early on, I'm not trying to be nobody's mama. I'm not trying to. She said that very early on. Yeah. And I was like, I'm the same. I attract those same type of guys. And you say it and it happens anyway. And you don't want to be mean because you are an empath and you do feel the pain. And I did feel the moment on the couch. I cried and all, but I still felt that, like, here he come again. You know what I mean? Like, she's there. They're on the same playing field. She's not one of the count. She's there ready to love as well. So it was a little bit triggering for me because I was like, oh, I've been there. And he is a nice guy, but you do have to grow to learn, unless you're going to be therapist or you're going to be girlfriend, which, wife, which you're going to be. And I could see it. It was on her when they were walking. Like, I just came out here to have a nice little walk, and here he come putting this on me. Go cook something. No, I'm kidding. He seems like a really nice guy, but he's still not looking from within. So he's nice, but you gotta like pray for him from arm's length until he's ready to look within and not lean on something else. I mean, the man said he had to take his dog tag off. He said he's having nightmares there still. That's a lot. And we feel for him. That is a lot to be looking for someone else to help on the show. So that was my outlook.
And he thanked her because he was like, because of you, now I want to do better. I was
yes,
like,
no, sir.
No.
I felt her so much. I was like, oh, God.
I think he was going to use her as his crutch or whatever. He was going to use her as his sort of saving grace and moment, and she could see it in his eyes, and she was like, no, this is not what I'm ready for. And the same thing when he started talking by the pool, and like you said, the loud girl walked away. I was like, oh Lord, here you come with their war stories. Oh Lord. And I think I said the same thing. How he got on the show? You know what I'm saying? Because that's nothing to take serious. I mean, lightly, you know. But another thing is, I still don't feel like Jay and Joy are probably gonna mesh well, because I feel like Jay, there's some things that Jay doesn't want to admit. And I also I was watching the interview, and Denise denied that 19-year break on this interview. Okay,
yes,
I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy.
He did. I saw
she denied
it.
She denied that. Somebody said, well, something about like, what do you? Something about the night. Somebody asked about the 19-year thing, and she was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I don't know.
That wasn't me. Yep, she did.
That wasn't me.
I said, "Oh,
and it had me thinking like, well, was that another show I was watching?" But she sure did.
Wow.
Last night.
He did. I was watching it, so you ain't crazy. I saw it. I said, I'm telling Kojo. And just another thing to add about Edwin, you also have to be careful. You've got this man nice and healthy, and he move on because you remind him of when he was stressed and do that. So you got to be careful where you're his crutch and it's like, all right, I don't really want to be reminded of those times, so I need to move on to something new. You got to protect your own heart. You do.
That's a good point.
I really appreciated Joy's example, because as an empath myself, like, she's you have to be a mature and empathetic person, because if you're not, people will suck the life out of you. They will. You, and you'll take on these projects, you know. Romantic partners should not be a project. We ain't trying to work you out. You got to work yourself out, and we come together and we help each other and motivate each other and build each other. But you know, she knows when to cut the line. You can see it. So I really appreciated her showing that example. There definitely has to be balance. You have to protect yourself. You can help other people, but you got to know where you got to set those boundaries in place. Otherwise, it's not going to be nice.
Yeah, I learned it the hard way. So.
Oh yeah, same. I'm speaking.
Listen.
Okay. Prayers, and I was definitely being looked over because I could have been in some crazy situation.
I get a little Naya. I get a little Naya in me when I see a man with trauma.
I don't know him.
Nope.
So let me ask everybody for their final statements. I'll get also Karen and Farah as well in the background on as well. Final statements about whatever you want to wrap up. If you want to make a final statement about the show, whatever you want to make a final statement for, just give us a final statement. I'm gonna start with Shalonda first, so I'm gonna mute everybody else, but I'm gonna start with Shalonda first, and then I'll make our way through everybody else as well. So Shalonda, give us your final statements, and I'll ask everybody else for theirs as well.
Well, I want to say that entertainment is just that. It's to entertain you, but really be mindful of where you focus your attention. Your attention is your currency. It's not money, because if you focus your attention, you'll get money, but you'll get great relationships. You'll get love. You'll love yourself. You'll do so much. So take your attention and spend that time on yourself. Learn what you like, what you don't like, what you will put up with, what you won't put up with. Get to know who you are first, and then take that good energy and attract all the good energy around you, because it's all around you. Job opportunities, to business relationships, to love relationships, to anything that you can ever imagine. And we look at these platforms as negative, but how can you use them for positive? Because this is a time like never before where you can have your voice heard, where you can take your purpose and passion to the marketplace and really be successful. And lastly, Kojo, keep doing what you're doing. So if you want some self-reflection and you want OWN to sponsor you, let's make it happen, because that's possible, because it's in your proximity now. So go after it. If I can help, I definitely will.
By Grace, thank you very much, Shalonda. Appreciate that. I'm going to put you in the background, Shalonda, now. Thank you. All right, I got Kay up next. Kay, give us your verdict. I need to unmute you there first. Kay, you need to unmute yourself, actually. Go for it, Kay. Give us your final thoughts.
I would try. I'm more of a, I have a hard time expressing myself. I just feel everything.
I know.
But I'll try to summarize this as best I can. I would say definitely, especially during the pandemic here, everyone should use the time to self-reflect and to really take time to work on themselves. I mean, it sounds like I'm repeating that, but I really believe that's so important. And then once you do that and you become more aware of who you are as a person, you become so grounded. And like Shalonda mentioned, you'll attract what you need, but the inner work is definitely important. And once you do that, you'll reach new levels. So that's the short response. I want to hear everyone else. Thanks for having me on. Oh, also, I'll say you're doing a great job. Be interesting to see where you go, man. I don't know where God is calling you exactly, but it's definitely, you're meant to help other people and motivate other people. You care about others. Like, that's the only reason. I half these shows I didn't even watch. I randomly came across your video and just kind of began tuning in. But I could see the authentic value that you bring to the table. So just keep going. You'll be good.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, appreciate it. I'm going to put in the background. All right. If I can get also Lola on. Lola, give us your verdict, final verdicts, edicts.
So just a few things, because they've all kind of said what I'm thinking. But once again, we use this, yes, as entertainment, but we should also use this as a source of reflection.
Come on.
What do we need to do within ourselves? Because there are things to learn everywhere we look. 1. 2, we all could use some healing in whatever aspect of our lives that we're doing, because we could be better. And then finally, we're all here for a purpose. What is your purpose? How well are you walking towards that purpose? Kojo, you're doing a wonderful job right now. I don't know what your purpose is, but you're walking in it, because you are affecting. I just happened to stumble across your channel one day. Actually mentioned to my brother who lives in England. It's like, oh, I know Kojo from back in the day. Wow, he's doing so good now. And this is just the beginning for you. So it's like, I think you're a good example. Pursue your purpose. If you haven't found it, continue to look for it. And just, I believe in God. So God is that instrument that you're going to use to find your way. But so I just want to say thank you for, introducing me to some of the shows that I wouldn't otherwise watch. So it's really been a great experience. And I wish everyone the best.
Thank you, Lord. I appreciate it. God bless you, sis.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Okay, I'm going to bring on Karen and bring on Farah as well, because I know they got to say their final edicts. Joy, I'm going to have you first. So, Joy, give us your final edicts. What's your final comments?
My final comments are, it's all about doing the work. Self-actualization is very important, because you meet people where you are. And you don't want to, it's best not to meet someone when we're always a continuous project. But when you're, still pretty broken, it's not good to meet anybody at that point. I wanted to say that. And I also wanted to talk about how these shows are good shows. There's production. They want entertainment, but they're showing educated Black people. Nobody's jumping over tables. Nobody's hitting it. Tommy keeps it in line. We've addressed narcissism, colorism, and anger all in one show. So I do want to say that I'm proud of the show for this. And this is how I've been able to watch it and get my mom to watch it, because she'd be like, I'm not trying to see that. But she actually sat and watched it with me. And I'm the same way. I stumbled across you and I was just like, oh, this man is amazing. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So we are speaking into existence whatever God has for you, because, maybe they said that you're the only interview they can do because it was so good. It was giving away too much. Who knows? But that's the point of this. I just want to celebrate what 2020, all the negativity, but it has forced us to address a lot of the problems that we had that were swept under the rug for so long. And I think that these shows are doing a good job of showing us in a better light. And just continuing to work on yourself. We're going to we can watch ourselves speaking and say, I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have said that, or I could have said this better. Hopefully Naya can look back on it and see something that she can actually work on, and just do the work. And we will pray for her either way. So, but we're so proud of you. Keep going. I just stumbled across you and I've been hooked ever since. So I know I'm bad in the comments, but
don't worry, Joy. You keep it light. I love it. I love it in the comments. I always look for you. Smoke. It's a new nickname. I appreciate it, Joy. God bless you. All right. Okay. I'm gonna have Kia next. Kia's in my corner. Kia.
All right. Yeah, so my verdict, I'm gonna have my fiance, the only man that caught.
Sorry, sir. Wait, hold on a minute. Keep it on him. What a handsome young sir.
Hey,
sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And, I'm gonna let him say it because I don't talk.
No worries. Yeah. Go for it, sir. Give us the edict.
Yeah, I just been sitting adjacent. I watch all the shows for Ready to Love. I'm well invested into our growth and everything like that. And so I love that it's given us an opportunity to determine when we're ready to love, and just learning to love, is a big part of the show. And so I'm so appreciative of everybody's viewpoints that have been on tonight. And definitely I tuned in because of how, your perspective is, and I always told her, I said, I love how he's, communicating, and I love his demeanor, especially towards Black women, and just listening, and I think everybody needs more listening, more forgiveness, and I'm loving everything. So just sending love and good vibes out to everybody who's been on the show, everybody who's talked about it, and good vibes to everybody online tonight. Peace out.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We're gonna have to get your partner here next time, okay? We need that man energy, you know what I'm saying? We need some
absolutely.
Man absolutely. I'm gonna steal him off your hands. We're gonna bring him on the show.
Thank you.
God bless you again, though. Thank you again, Kia.
Bye, y'all.
Appreciate you. And we're ending as we started, isn't it? So I'm bringing my last two people, but I'm going to have Karen first, because Karen's in my view first. So, Karen, if I let you go first, give us your final thoughts, Karen.
Okay. I second everything that Lola said. I can't say anything beyond what she said, basically. And I support your channel. I appreciate your perspective, and that's why I continue to watch you. I think tonight's live has been the most live. People have been very entertained today with your guests, most memorable. And I'm appreciative for the OWN network and this particular program. I'm happy that it's kind of being presented in a different manner, in comparison to other kind of dating programs out there. So it definitely stands out. But most importantly, I appreciate your perspective and the kind of deeper perspective that you consider things. It's not superficial or anything like that. So I think that's why we continue to support your channel. So thank you for that.
Thank you again. Appreciate it, Karen. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And last but not least, sis, you was the first, you know what I'm saying? You came on this channel ready, you understand? You get me? Let me I've got your mute here, sorry. Yes, Farah, you have to drop the last bomb because you came on here first, and we appreciate the strength and the courage. You understand? So come on, sis, drop us your final comments.
I'll just keep it simple and just say that hopefully Naya will watch her interview back and do some self-reflection, and hopefully the healing will start there, because she really seems like she needs it. And prayers up that she finally gets the healing that she needs.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you, Farah. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let me drop you behind. Guys, it's been 2 hours and it's been amazing. Yeah, because this is the kind of stuff that we need to be doing, because having you guys have your opinions and voicing it in a respectful manner is what we need, right? The community needs this kind of stuff. We need more conversations like this, because oftentimes the wisdom is locked away in people's minds. We don't get to have these conversations often. So I really appreciate the fact that all the ladies that came on the show and gave their viewpoint in love, shared what they felt, shared what they thought, shared what they saw, right? Because the more eyes we have, the more perspectives we can see things. We have a more holistic point of view, right? Nobody has a whole handle on the absolute truth. So the more that you guys get to give your opinions and your thoughts, the more that I'm learning, the more that everyone else is learning as they watch the show. So I want to thank you, ladies, especially who came on the show, who braved it and said, I'm going to come on and say my piece, because it's never easy, putting yourself in front of 300, 400 people on the screen. So I want to appreciate that so much. So thank you so much, guys. Yes, we're gonna end the live, guys. On your way out, just like it. Just like it. On your way out, just like it. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you guys so much. We're back here tomorrow. If you don't know, we're back here. We've put a ring on it interview again with Mimi. Okay, so she dropped out the show early. We're gonna have a conversation with her. Wednesday, we've got Alex from Ready to Love. Okay, so she's going to come and give her perspective. And then on Christmas Eve, I don't rest. You understand? We don't rest here. We got another one for you. We got one with Edwin from Ready to Love. So we spoke about Edwin, so he's going to be on the show. So I hope y'all... I see Shalom in the background like, oh my God. I hope you lot are ready on Christmas Eve. I might go live after that as well, you know what I'm saying? Because we might have to have a real deep conversation. So be ready. If you want to have your opinion, I think we'll probably go live after Edwin's live on that Wednesday. So yeah, be ready, stay ready. Christmas Eve is coming, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys. And yes, for those who are on the show, appreciate as well so much. And we're going to go from here. So guys, I'm going to eat some chicken right now. Okay. And I'm going to appreciate you. Stay blessed. And we will see you tomorrow right here again. All right. 6 p.m. we go again. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded.